session, so we will be sending it your way. All registered attendees will be receiving it via email in the next couple of days. We will also be posting a link to both the recorded, we are recording today, presentation, as well as a link to the deck that will be posted on our industry website, industry.traveloregon.com. And additionally, after this session, all registered attendees will be getting a brief survey to fill out. We want to know how we did today. Mostly the good, but also please include the not so good for us. We want all feedback. And just so you know, that survey link will open in your Zoom browser window. Let's see. Apologies. We're also, again, all audience members are muted. You can use the chat to chat other participants, and we have the Q&A feature enabled today so that you can ask any questions during the presentation. You can just click that Q&A icon in your Zoom toolbar. And we do have the last little bit of our time today will be dedicated to questions. And you can post your question anytime in that Q&A box. And then for any questions that aren't addressed in the presentation, or if you have specific questions about your specific online listings, you can actually schedule office hours with a Miles program specialist, and we'll post a link to do that in the chat as well. So thank you, Jordan. I think you'll be dropping that in. So I would like to say that today's session was created with COVID-19 in mind, but I did want to take a moment to acknowledge the numerous challenges this year has thrown at us. It's not just COVID. We've had windstorms and wildfires, so I hope everybody is keeping safe and well, and we're really glad you're here today. So thank you again for your time. Now that I've given you all the housekeeping, let me introduce myself. I'm Cecilia Sabajan. I am the database information specialist at Travel Oregon. And what that means is I manage our Oregon Tourism Information System, also known as OTIS. You may have heard OTIS before. And OTIS is our listing database that powers listings on excuse me, traveloregon.com and also DMO partner websites. And I am very happy to introduce you to our presenter today. Kim Palmer is the Google Program Director at Miles Partnership. She manages the Google DMO program team, and she's helped to guide its development, industry awareness, and co-op program development for this program since it launched in 2017. And previously, she was the company's director of SEO and the director of digital marketing for the hospitality division. She specializes in organic traffic generation and analytics and has been involved in every aspect of digital marketing since launching Miles Partnership's first destination websites in the late 90s. So thanks for being here. Take it away, Kim.
Thank you. It's great to see everyone and meet you all again virtually. Oregon was actually my last trip before COVID hit and lockdown. And I really hope that you are all well. So today we're really going to focus in on how the business listings and free online tools that are available to your business can be leveraged to help you create confidence both with travelers and with local travelers alike. Safety is really top of mind for today's travelers, and they need information that they can trust now more so than ever to impact whether or not they choose to visit, whether it is a destination or a restaurant. From very on in the saga of COVID-19, the research was telling us that things like hours of operation, restrictions and closures for business listings were among the top things that potential visitors were looking for. So today we're going to talk about 3 keys for inspiring confidence with travelers using your online business listings. Those 3 keys are to establish safety, share information, and grow visibility. Now, I'm not going to really dwell on established safety. I think everyone out there has already been doing a lot proactively to keep both their customers and their employees healthy. You have a lot of great resources from a national level with the CDC and US travel, to the local level with the Oregon Health Authority, the Restaurant and Lodging Association, the Wine Board, and Travel Oregon's resources to help you reopen and recover from this trying time. The one thing I will call out in the topic of establishing safety is that safety doesn't have to be boring. And I think at this point, people really appreciate some good-natured humor around the challenges that we're all facing together. There have been some great examples of businesses that have found ways to incorporate social distancing and safety protocols in ways that have been both effective and fun. For example, here in Florida, the Salvador Dali Museum, in addition to enforcing their mask policies, are also distributing mustaches along with their masks that you can dress up your mask with in the spirit of Salvador Dali. My personal favorite is the in Gatorland in Florida. They have a character called the social distancing skunk ape. Now, I'm pretty sure up in Oregon, you guys have an equivalent up there of Mr. Skunk Ape, but he has been used in videos in Gatorland to help spread the word about what they're doing to keep the attraction clean and enforce social distancing, etc. And the research really reinforces that those health and safety information is key to what our visitors are seeking. These are some stats out of TripAdvisor's white paper from back in May that 86% of customers said that cleanliness would be very important when selecting accommodation after COVID-19. And 82% said that the disinfecting of high contact surfaces will be really important when they're considering whether to book tours, activities, and attractions. So what we're really focused in on here today is how do we share that information? How do we make sure that your potential customers know what's different now at your business? I highly recommend narrowing in on some of your highest visibility platforms. First and foremost is Google and Google Maps. We know that 90% of travelers utilize Google sometime in their travel planning process. And the Google Maps product is becoming increasingly critical in that visitor experience. Google's economic impact data from 2019 found that the Google Maps product was generating 3 billion direct connections between businesses and customers on a monthly basis. In addition, 79% of customers who use navigation apps as part of their leisure travel are choosing to use Google Maps. That came out of a Skift report that they did a deep dive on Google in early 2020 prior to COVID. Also, the Explore Nearby feature in Google Maps is something that launched fairly early in 2019. And by Q4 of 2019, the Focusrite Travel Technology Survey found that 67% of survey respondents cited that they had used Explore Nearby either for researching or booking a recent trip. So that's a really high level of adoption and recognition for a relatively new tool. Also, when we talk about why businesses show up in Google search results, where they do, when we look at local SEO, currently the #1 influencer of local SEO is Google My Business Signals. And that means the completeness and quality of your Google business profile. But we're also going to talk outside of Google here today. Yelp is another very important platform for many businesses. It has more than 178 million visitors monthly across mobile, desktop, and their app. Some research from review trackers found that 45% of customers are likely to check Yelp reviews before visiting a business. And 35% of folks that are searching on Yelp will actually make a visit to that location within 24 hours. TripAdvisor is also remains very relevant to the travel planning market and has over 463 million users on a monthly basis. And during COVID, some of their research indicated that people were spending as much as 5 hours in a week planning their post-COVID trip using the TripAdvisor platform. Facebook, while we think about it as primarily a social media platform, businesses do have a representation and a listing, if you will, on Facebook. And 76% of travelers in that younger demographic of 18 to 34-year-olds use Facebook for travel-related activities. So let's talk about first steps. First and foremost, to be active in any of these platforms, you first have to claim your business listing. For your Google business profile, go ahead and do a search for your business. And if you see this icon or a question that says, own this business here in your listing, this means that you have not yet claimed your business profile. A couple things you can do here. If you are logged into the Google account that you want to use to claim that listing, you can go right ahead and click on that icon to begin the process of claiming and verifying your listing. Or you can go to business.google.com, enter your business information, and claim it that way. However, for all of you listening in here, Miles can also help you sort of bypass the receive a postcard or a robocall function in order to verify your ownership of the business. So please feel free to reach out to us either in the office hours following today's session or through Travel Oregon in the near future, and we can help you with claiming your Google business profile. Yelp works in a very similar fashion. If you find your business listing on Yelp and you see this icon here about, is this your business? You go right ahead and click the claim your business button there, or you can go directly to biz.yelp.com. In TripAdvisor, probably the most direct way to do this is to go to tripadvisor.com/owners. There is a way to do it through finding your business listing online. There's a button in there that says improve this listing. And if you click on that, you're then able to click on something that will ask you if you want to claim that listing in TripAdvisor. Lastly, in Facebook, what you really need to do is set up a page for your business in Facebook if you have not already. Your best bet there is to go directly to facebook.com/business/pages and click on the creative page and select business or brand to set up that Facebook page for your business. Also really wanted to call out traveloregon.com is another great source of where visitors are finding your business. If your business is either not on the site or needs to be updated, you should reach out to your local DMO or Otis at traveloregon.com, and we can get that listing updated for you there as well. Once you've claimed your business profile across any of these platforms, it's important that you make sure that your core information is consistent. business name, address, phone number, website address, and description. There's something called NAP in local SEO, name, address, phone number, consistency between directories and online platforms that helps positively influence your rank in local search. So once you've claimed that business listing, first and foremost, you should take a look at your business hours. This is the most important thing that customers are looking for about businesses. Are they open now? Are they open tomorrow? What time do they close tonight? So ensure your business hours are up to date so that when people are doing searches for things like open now, your business is sure to show up. Business hours can really impact customer confidence, especially these days where there's a lot more uncertainty about whether or not a business is going to be open as they typically were prior to COVID. If someone can't figure out for sure whether your business is open, they're likely to go somewhere else instead. So there are two different ways you can update your business hours on these platforms, depending on whether the changes you're making are operating hours for the long term or just for the short term. In Google My Business, for long-term hours changes, you want to go into the Info tab and click into the Hours section. This is for updates to your hours that are going to be consistent for the foreseeable future. So for example, if you are no longer open on Mondays, you can go in there and edit this. Or if you'll always now be closing at 5 o'clock instead of 4:30, you can go in and change that there. There's also a separate section in Google My Business for special hours, which is located below business hours. These are for exceptions, and normally these are used when we're putting in our operating hours for a holiday, but it can also be used for other short-term changes. If you unfortunately have to close because an employee tested positive for COVID, or we've had a number of natural disasters around the country lately, which have forced businesses to temporarily close for several days or for a week. All these sorts of examples of short-term changes are things that you can address in this arena. There is the ability to select a specific date and put in your hours or whether or not you are closed for that specific date. The great thing there is if someone does say it's a holiday and someone does search for your business, it will note in your business profile that your hours for the holiday have been confirmed by the business owner, which inspires confidence. There's actually a third way to update your hours in Google My Business. This was just added in June, where you can now identify hours that are for particular types of services or activities. This allows you to focus in on unique offerings like happy hour, delivery, takeout, special hours for seniors, etc. So look for the More Hours tab there, and you can put in hours for these specific activities. Business hours and special hours in Yelp function very similarly to Google My Business. You'll find this option under the Business Information tab. You can both update your regular business hours or look for the section like you see here on the left for upcoming special hours, where much like Google, you can enter dates, specific dates and the hours for those dates. Business hours also exist on Facebook. So you'll find this option in the About section on the left-hand side of your business page, where you can update your regular hours. And there is also a feature to update temporary service changes to indicate whether you are temporarily closed, operating as usual, or have certain changes to your hours. So move into distributing updates. Some of the best practices around sharing update information is to make sure that you're sharing your updates across multiple platforms, because you never can be sure exactly where your customers are going to look for you and look for that information. Posting is not a one and done event. Don't just post once and figure that you have taken care of it for the entirety of the COVID situation. People are looking at the dates when things were posted, and as things start to get old, get more skeptical of that information. So do post frequently and for as long as that information is relevant. Provide your visitors with helpful information about your current circumstances. Focus on safety information for both visitors and employees, as well as changes to the products or services that you may be offering. Be brief in these platforms. If you need to provide detailed information, reserve that for your website and link these posts into your website for more detailed information. And in this era, just be genuine and be honest with your customers about what is going on. So again, looking in Google My Business, really want to encourage everybody out there to use the posts feature in Google My Business. Now, there is an exception for hotels and other types of lodging. Lodging does not have the post feature. However, if you have a restaurant or a spa on property that has their own Google Business profile, then posts are likely available for those locations. If you go into Google My Business, there's a special section just for posts, and you can add a new post by clicking on this icon. Google has added a specific post format that is specific to COVID-19 updates. So if you select this one, there's a lot of different kinds of posts. You can do events, offers, new products, etc. But there is a specific one for COVID-19 updates that you can put in here, as well as link through to your website and then publish it. Now, when you publish a post on Google, it shows up directly in the knowledge panel for your business. It really almost looks like an ad, and it's completely free. There is no cost to do a post, and there is no cost per click for your customers to interact with that post. It's also trackable. You can, if you are in the habit of using campaign tracking codes with your other advertising, you can put campaign tracking codes in the links to your posts so that you can see in your Google Analytics the traffic that came through there. These are highly visual. You can include both photos or video clips in a post. They are in a square format, so any of the great photography you're using in Instagram can be easily leveraged for Google Posts. And again, they really create engagement because you can click this through to your website, or you can really click it through to anywhere that you want. Now in Yelp, there is a whole expanded section for health and safety updates where you can provide details surrounding your operations following COVID-19. Much like posts, there is a banner message that you can type in here that will get added to your page that can be custom written for your business. There's also a call out here about changing your operating hours and some of your amenities, which we'll get into here in just a few minutes. But this is what this looks like on your Yelp listing when you do fill in this information. Your COVID-19 update is front and center here in the listing, and the updated services and health and safety measures are at the top of your listing. Your listing is also going to identify when your hours were last updated, and your customers are able to click and confirm your health and safety measures. So you may see that this has been confirmed. You see according to 7 users, according to 5 users here. In Facebook, business pages in Facebook have access to new information and functionality via the dedicated COVID-19 tab, which is accessible for page owners. You can find out about this and a list of features that are available for small businesses through this section. One of those features is to do a post that is a specific COVID-19 update. When you go in to add a post, you get a whole bunch of different options for what kind of post you can do on Facebook, but you can select COVID-19 update. And this is unique because it will receive more visibility than a regular update and sort of stays at the top of your listing there. TripAdvisor also has added a COVID-19 response center that allows businesses to share a message with customers who are viewing their business on that platform. So I want to move into attributes and amenities. Attributes can really influence the visibility of your business. They help identify the relative characteristics of your business, and that's what lines up your business with customer services. So for example, if someone is searching for a location that is kid-friendly, if you have not selected that as an attribute in your listing, you're less likely to show up in that search. There's really a considerable value in attributes even outside of COVID-19. For example, users may be searching for wheelchair accessible businesses or other audience specific needs. Within Google My Business, your attributes are accessible underneath the Info tab. And there have been some new ones added in the last 6 months, such as curbside pickup, no contact delivery, and dine-in outdoor seating are some ones that have been there for a while, but have become more popular. If you are not a restaurant, there are also some new ones for other virtual offerings, such as online classes, online estimates, and online appointments. Many of these attributes are getting a lot more visibility in Google Maps and in Google search results in order to help visitors quickly find the information they're looking for. So for example, in Google Maps, when I'm looking at an area, the takeout and the delivery filters are now front and center in Google Maps. And you'll see in restaurant listings, the either X for not available or check for available for things like curbside pickup, delivery, and dine-in are right in the front of that listing. There are also some new health and safety attributes in Google My Business. So you can also check things like whether or not masks are required, temperature checks are required, etc. In Yelp, go into your basic information section and you'll find attribute options. Which attributes you find will vary by your business category. Some new ones in the Yelp space include virtual consultations, virtual tours, and virtual performances. And you can see where these are surfacing within Yelp products. If I do a search for restaurants, I'm immediately takeout and delivery are my first couple of options. And we're also seeing these things featured in some of the key filters in the app. In Facebook, within the temporary service changes section, there are a couple attributes that can be selected there, such as delivery pickup or other changes. And you can see that those attributes are currently being featured in green right here at the top of listings. So if you do proactively fill these in, they will show up in your listing in a way that looks like this. Finally, TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor has added health and safety filters, both for accommodations and restaurants, that allows customers to filter down the list in a market to only businesses that are taking safety measures. But all of us know that that really is almost every business in our community at this point. And yet, if the business has not proactively filled out its health and safety features in TripAdvisor, they're not going to show up in the search. So for example, looking at Portland hotels here, out of the 247 properties in the area, only 66 have indicated their health and safety measures. And so when I put this filter on my search, I'm only getting those 66 properties. You can also see how that's called out in the listing itself there. Same is true in restaurants. This has more recently been added to restaurants in TripAdvisor. So there's really even fewer locations that are coming up matching that filter. In TripAdvisor, the way to manage this is to go into the COVID-19 Response Center, and you can see that there's many options for you to choose from to indicate your safety measures. Having filled out any of these will qualify you to show up in that filter. So those are some of the top ways and most important pieces of information that you can be sharing with your customers. So I wanted to move on to talk about growing your visibility. And in fact, a couple of the best practices for growing visibility are those very same sharing information features. Recent research shows that using Google Posts regularly can improve a business's visibility across Google's platforms, and having business hours, services, and attributes completed will improve your visibility across all of these platforms because of the matches it creates between searches and filters, as well as generating value for long tail search. Two other things I'd like to talk about is leveraging the use of high quality photos in your business listing. This can increase the likelihood of visitors showing up in person by 2 times. And in addition, I highly encourage everyone to monitor and respond to their customer reviews, because this demonstrates responsiveness and can increase your conversion. So a little bit more about each of those. First of all, paying attention to images. Photos are really key in how visitors are making decisions about a location, and listings with high quality photos are twice as likely to generate engagement with customers. So make sure your business is represented consistently across all of these platforms with high quality images. In the Google My Business platform, there are 2 relatively new features that allow the business to control their cover image, which is the main image that shows for your location, as well as to set your logo in your listing. It's important to note that that logo is in a circle, very much the same format that is used in Instagram. So from a brand consistency standpoint, whichever logo you're using as your icon in Instagram might be a good choice for this in Google. This is some research that was done by Bright Local, and this found that businesses that have more than 100 images in their listings gallery have 377% higher conversion rate from their customers. So this is looking at the average monthly customer actions, including website visits, directions requests, and phone calls. And you can see for the businesses that have over 100 images, how much higher those customer actions are than just the ones that have between 50 and 100 images. The same is true of visibility. Business profiles with more than 100 images also have higher exposure rates. This is the visibility of listings in both direct searches and discovery searches for locations that have more than 100 images. You can see it's almost 300% higher. This is another element that's really not a one and done effort. I can encourage you to upload quality images on a regular cadence. Through the business profiles that our company manages on behalf of a number of resorts and other hospitality clients, we have found that adding 4 or 5 new photos each month has created a 10 to 30% lift in exposure for those businesses. So don't just take your 10 best images of your business, upload them, and be done with it for the next couple of years. Do make a note to try to upload a couple images every couple of weeks. Finally, staying on top of reviews has always been important for businesses. I understand it can be very time consuming, but in this era where folks have a lot of uncertainty, businesses that are responsive to their customer reviews are going to ultimately see more customers. 86% of customers read reviews for local businesses before they walk in your door. And 57% of customers will only use a business if it has 4 or more stars. And finally, 89% of customers also read businesses' responses to reviews. We thought this was some really compelling research by Uberall that is looking at the consumer conversion rate based on star rating. And an increase in your star ratings from 3.7 to 4.4 can actually increase your conversion rate between 80 and 120%. In addition, so based on that, you should really be targeting trying to have an average rating of 4.4 or higher in your business reviews in order to maximize your conversion. Now, the first step in responding to reviews is knowing when they happen. In Google My Business, under Settings, there is the ability for you to select this box, which will send you a notification every time that you receive a customer review. That makes it real easy to jump from that notification into a response so that you know when reviews are posted. Within Google My Business, as well as within Yelp and TripAdvisor, they all function fairly the same. There is an ability to reply to customer reviews. Some best practices for responding to reviews. Let minor complaints go. We're always going to get a little bit of feedback that we can use constructively, but make sure that you are addressing issues in a constructive manner. Don't use the responses to advertise, although we do recommend not so much blatant advertising, but if you enjoyed this at our location, next time you visit, you might want to try XYZ. Don't offer users anything. You're kind of creating problems for yourself, because when folks see that in reviews, they're like, oh, well, if I complain, maybe I'll get a free dinner too. And of course, be professional and polite. Now, for negative reviews, we're all going to get negative reviews every once in a while. What's important in your for your listing is that your trajectory of reviews remains consistent with your average rating. If you start getting negative reviews on a frequent basis, certainly there might be something there you need to take a look at, but that can also impact whether or not you're showing up in local search results. First and foremost, we really encourage folks to keep responses to negative reviews short and encourage them to contact you offline. People love drama, and the probably worst thing you can do is to get into a heated back and forth with an unhappy customer on a platform that's going to save that discussion for posterity. When you do encourage them to contact you offline, we do recommend that you give them some specifics of exactly who to talk to and how to reach them. Another important aspect of this is growing your reviews. It all starts, of course, with making your customers happy when they walked in, but don't be afraid to ask a customer to leave a review about your business. In fact, 68% of customers will leave a review for a local business if they've been asked to do so. Couple ways you can do this. There is a site, marketingkit.withgoogle.com. Is a way for you to get access to free stickers, posters, and other posts for your Google business profile that you can use around your business. Within Google My Business, you can also do something called setting up a short name. This is in the Info tab in Google My Business. Short names are unique to your business and makes it really easy to encourage folks to leave you a review. So for example, once you've established a short name, if you want to send people directly to your Google business profile, you give them the address g.page/your short name. And if you want someone to review you, you can send them to g.page/your short name/review, and they can get dumped directly into the reviews area. This is great for integration with email, social media, anywhere that you want to make it quick and easy for someone to leave you a review. TripAdvisor, once you have passed some of the thresholds within TripAdvisor, you are eligible to receive rating certificates of excellence. You can also download a widget to utilize on your website to encourage customers to leave reviews. That can be found at tripadvisor.com/widgets. So certainly look for those opportunities to encourage TripAdvisor reviews. And Yelp will also let you request a Find Us on Yelp sticker. If you fill out this form here, it does not have a pretty URL, but you can put in for a Yelp sticker request for your location as well. So I hope that these recommendations have been helpful for you as you move forward using your free tools and resources for your online listings to inspire confidence in your travelers and in customers. First and foremost, we're all trying to establish safety, but once we've done so, sharing that information and growing your visibility online through these strategies. So I am going to open it up for questions. We did a good job of leaving about 15 minutes here or so for questions. Also wanted to reiterate that our team has office hours available that you can sign up for your business to have some one-on-one time with our program specialist who can help you claim your Google business profile or answer any other specific questions you might have about your unique situation on TripAdvisor, Yelp, Google, etc. So hit me with some questions, everybody. There is a Q&A section here in Zoom. Let me see. One question is regarding merging 2 to 3 Facebook pages. I'm probably going to have us get back to you with the longer answer on that. I don't know that I have a full explanation on that, but I have heard on numerous instances folks that had originally had a personal Facebook page for their business, but were, since Facebook has evolved over time, now need to move that into their business pages. So Laura, we will follow up with some details to answer that question directly. We have another question about why lodging can't use posts. We asked Google that directly back at a conference a couple of years ago, and their answer was that lodging listings are a butterfly within the Google ecosystem. While they are managed through Google My Business, because of the way that they tie into OTAs and other booking providers, they operate in their own little area that is separate from other businesses. And so they do have some features such as many, many more attributes than other businesses have. But unfortunately, they don't have the posts feature. We haven't heard of that changing anytime soon. But our recommendation has always been, if you do have another facility on property, such as a spa or a golf course or a restaurant, all of those can have independent Google business profiles that can be claimed, and posts are available on those. So at least to the extent there is information about both the property and those facilities, it can be handled there. A question related to service areas for businesses. At least in Google My Business, and whether or not you can only pick one city, I believe that in your Google Business profile, you can select more than one service area. There's been a few changes to it. It used to be that you could do an amount of mileage around your location. Last I looked at it, I think you could pick various cities, but you could have more than one. The instance to have more than one listing would be if you do have different locations that serve a larger area. If you don't have more than one business location, I wouldn't go so far as to create additional listings. Other than that, on the other platforms, probably picking the broadest location possible for that city. In terms of platforms for updating multiple platforms at one time, we do use Yext for a number of the businesses that the Miles Hospitality division uses. That is a system that is designed to help you maintain your consistency across listing platforms. That does include Google, Yelp, and TripAdvisor. So that's the one that I have familiarity with using. They're typically around $500 for the year to have access to that platform. But it is nice to be able to go in and make a change in one place and know that it's populating across multiple platforms. And I do know for small businesses in particular, this does sound like a daunting task to try to keep all of these different listings up to date in different platforms. But I do feel like it can be done in 15-minute increments here and there throughout your week. as the director of the Google program, I'm biased towards the reach of your Google listing. If I were a small business owner, I would try to spend 15, 20 minutes there every week. I think it can have exponential results for your business. We have a question about a Google listing that was verified for someone who no longer works for the organization. So the process for that will be that you'll go in, try to claim the listing, and it will tell you this listing has already been claimed, and it will give you like this little hint of the email address under which it was claimed. The next step you have to take is to there's a form that follows that notification, which will send an email to that address saying that you have requested ownership of this listing. And then there's a mandated period that you have to wait for the person on the other end of that email to respond. Now, you may know that there's nobody on the other end of that email and they're not going to respond, but you still got to sit out the the time frame has changed over the course of time. It's somewhere between a week and 10 days, I believe, for a response. Once you do not receive a response, then you are able to escalate that through Google customer service. And what they will do is they will release the listing from being owned by anybody. And then you have to go in there and claim it and verify it yourself. If you are in the help in Google My Business, I highly recommend the chat feature. If it's up and running on the particular day and time that you're looking there, we've found that that's a really great responsive area to get some feedback.
Don't see any more questions in the chat. I guess last call on dropping your questions in the Q&A feature. Laura and Agnes, we will follow up with you on your Facebook questions outside of this session. So any other questions today? Well, we have Kim here to answer them. One more glance at my chat and question boxes here. All right, well, thank you all very, very much for joining us. As I said at the beginning of our time today, we will be sharing this presentation out, both the recording and the slide deck. You should be receiving an email communication from us in just a couple days with those items. And then also please look to your email for a brief survey about this session specifically that will be hitting your inbox soon. So Kim, thank you very, very much. That was such an informative presentation. And also thanks to Jordan and Casey on tech support today. Enjoy the rest of your day and be well.
Thank you, everyone.